Hi everyone, my name is Chloe Gessner, and today I am here with my amazing mom. She was an ophthalmic tech for 10 years, and today this random rant is going to be about eyes. So we're going to be learning about eyes today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for wanting to come. So there is a lot of things a tech has to do, of course. So my first question is, what is the one way someone can lose their vision, whether it's medical or whether it's non-medical?
One of the most common ways a person can lose their vision medically is diabetes. If it is uncontrolled, they have high blood sugars, high A1Cs, they can get swelling in their retina, which ultimately can cause bleeds. Bleeds go undetected.
Oh, okay.
And they can lose vision.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. So I know one of the first things you have to do when you take a patient back is do this thing called the auto-refraction machine. So tell me how that works and what the patient would have to do.
Upon bringing the patient back, I always have them sit down. There's a little chin rest, so they'll rest their chin on the bottom. There's a strap that will go, and their forehead will go on that top strap. I then just tell them to look at the little balloon. What that machine does is it measures the light going through the retina. In turn, it gives me the starting point of their distance prescription.
Okay. Do all patients have to be dilated in an eye exam, whether they're new or not new, or?
Not all patients have to be dilated, but most of the time, young children do have to be dilated.
Why?
Well, children, their lenses and their eyes are very new, so they're viable and bendy. So when I set them down in front of that machine, they have the capability to trick that autorefraction. And it will in turn give us the wrong starting point of the prescription. So dilation in children acts as a muscle relaxer, if you will, so that they cannot trick that machine.
Gotcha. So there have been times where I've seen someone with like a bursted blood vessel in their eye. So, I mean, what would cause it to like burst?
Oh gosh, there's there's tons of things that can actually cause a patient to rupture a blood vessel. Sometimes it's just due to medications too. If they're taking blood thinners that are making their blood a little too thin. Most of the times a patient with a ruptured blood vessel, which is what we call a conjunctival hemorrhage, or a subconch heme in the medical field, because it's a tongue twister.
Sounds like it.
It's horrible. They can get it from coughing too hard. They can get it from head trauma. They can get it from sneezing too hard.
That's crazy. Well, if one were to burst, like in someone's eye, what are some ways you can treat it, if any?
Well, most of the time, the subconch hemes are just in the front part of the eye, so they're not actually in back of the back wall of the eye, the retina. And what happens is that blood just eventually just gets reabsorbed.
So like there's no drops or anything, there's no like treatment y'all can do?
Most of the time, no. Yeah.
Does it like affect their vision in any way?
No.
Really?
Typically they just wake up and they're scared to death because they have this red, sometimes I've seen people with the whole eye red outside the iris.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is it called when people have floaters?
Oh, that's funny. Floaters can range it from any age, really, but they're most common in older individuals. In our eyes, we have a gel, and that gel kind of holds our eyes together. It's called the vitreous. And the vitreous, as we age, can kind of become loose. And actually, what you're seeing when you see a floater is parts of that little vitreous just going in front of your lens.
Interesting. So my final question is, you said I actually had one of these in my left eye yesterday, and I didn't even know it because couldn't feel it. You called it a sty. So what is a sty?
Okay. Yeah, so that's a little more complicated, so I'll give you some quick anatomy of the eye. So in our eyes, we have 3 layers of tear film. We have a mucousy, or mucin, a watery, a quiescent, and an oily, aka the lipid layer. In our eyes, we have these glands, and when we close, the glands are located on the closure of our eyelids, so every time we blink, it secretes that oily part of the tear film and holds the mucousy and watery part of the tear film in place. When you get a sty, it's typically because we stare at things. We stare at our phones, we stare at cameras, TVs, books, whatever. And we don't blink properly, so we don't close our lids like we should. And that oily part of the tear film that's in those glands called meibomian glands that's secreted when we close our eyes gets clogged, and it will cause a sty. Yeah.
How do you, well, if I ever get one again, how do I treat it, or how would other people treat it?
Typically, in most cases, warm compresses will help bring that to a head, and that oil can drain. The warm compresses act as bringing that oil from a solidified state to a liquid state, kind of like butter to a frying pan. So when you put the compress on there and you blink, sometimes it will just give it that leeway to go ahead and drain that oil that's clogging that gland and making you uncomfortable. In more serious cases, when it's been or they reoccur, sometimes we prescribe antibiotics, and those antibiotics just kind of eat the oil out of the gland to make the patient more comfortable sooner.
Gotcha. Well, I learned a lot about eyes today. I hope everyone else did. So thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.